Coming up on WMBD News at 4, President Trump weighs in on the FBI investigation on his Supreme Court nominee. Plus, a Democratic congressman announces her plans for the future, what she says needs to happen at the polls in order to make it happen. And a new tool to ease the process if your child is applying for financial aid. Well, good Monday evening. I'm Delon Dillard. Eugene has today off. Well, the NAFTA negotiations have finally ended. Canada signed on to a new trade deal with the U.S. and Mexico late Sunday, hours before a midnight deadline. Now, the new deal will now be called the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMFCA. Our D.C. correspondent Anna Wernicke is in Washington with more. Anna, good evening.
You know, I've been covering these NAFTA negotiations for over a year now, and each time we hear that they're close to a deal and then that deadline passes. So to have a final deal in our hands is pretty remarkable. But there's still a few things that need to happen first, like getting Congress to approve it.
Was made moments before midnight.
It's a good day for Canada.
Canada agreed to join a new trade deal with the U.S. and Mexico, replacing NAFTA with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement.
A very, very good deal for all three. It puts us in a position that we've never been in before.
President Donald Trump called it the biggest trade deal in U.S. history. It allows U.S. farmers greater access to the Canadian dairy market and addresses Canadian concerns about the threat of U.S. auto tariffs.
This is a very, very big deal for our farmers. Mexico and Canada will be opened up a lot more than they are now. And I think there'll be a better spirit between the three countries, which is important for our farmers.
The president says he plans to sign the deal this month and send it to Congress for the final approval. Kansas Republican Congressman Ron Estes says he supports the new deal.
We've talked about this a long time. It's been a long time coming.
Estes says USMCA is a win for agriculture, and he hopes his colleagues approve it quickly.
I'd hate to see it drag out through Congress just because somebody wants to tweak and make some advantage for a particular industry or a particular group.
But Texas Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett says he's not totally on board. He says he thinks some language still needs to change, but he hopes the three countries can come to an agreement.
Congress does have the final say here. They're not expected to make a final vote until 2019. Live in Washington, I'm Anna Wernicke. Back to you.
All right, well, thanks. Illinois Representative Darren LaHood praised the new trade deal today, saying, quote, free trade is vital to Illinois' 18th district, and modernizing NAFTA into the 21st century will ensure that exporters in Illinois have access to important international markets. Now, he continues by saying, without being hit with this burden tariffs, keeping them competitive in the global economy is imperative. And Illinois soybean farmers also speaking out, saying that they're encouraged by this action. They say, quote, as our Illinois soybean growers harvest a record crop, we have tremendous challenges due to low prices that are the result of the tariffs and other barriers. Now, we still need access to all of these markets. We implore the White House to work with our neighbors to end these barriers that are in place. Now, that statement also added the importance of certainty relating to a new farm bill. And today, the president answered questions about his Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. Now, on Friday, senators agreed to let the FBI investigate certain claims against Kavanaugh before voting on his confirmation. The probe is projected to last just about a week. Trump spoke about the, quote, trauma Kavanaugh has been subjected to in this confirmation process. The president says he wants the investigation to be thorough but quick.
Should Brett Kavanaugh be interviewed by the FBI?
I think so. I think it's fine if they do. I don't know. That's up to them. I think that he spoke very conclusively and very well. I think it's been a very rough period of time. I guarantee he's never had a period of time like this.
While supporting the idea of having the FBI interview Kavanaugh, Trump deferred to the Senate as being in charge of the scope of the investigation. Illinois Congressman Cheri Bustos is making plans for the future. During an interview on MSNBC, she says she intends to run for assistant Democratic leader if Democrats win back the majority in the midterm election. Now, Bustos was first elected in 2012 when she defeated an incumbent Republican in the 17th Congressional District. And the man hoping to take over the 18th district from incumbent Darren LaHood says his campaign is speaking directly to voters. At an endorsement rally today, Junius Rodriguez explained his current strategy. He says volunteers are visiting cities across the district, speaking directly to voters about what they want from their congressman. Rodriguez says he understands the district leans toward the right, but he says that doesn't mean voters will again select Representative LaHood.
I think we're also at a critical juncture in our history where a lot of people in this election are looking beyond party labels. They're looking to see what's the measure of the person, what's the measure of the candidate.
And the event today was held by Indivisible Peoria, a group now endorsing Rodriguez. And the trial for the Chicago police officer charged with killing a teen ended even before it started today. A judge announced that due to, quote, difficulties, the trial would take the day off from any evidence being presented. Now, according to the Chicago Tribune, the difficulties were a juror being sick. The trial will resume Tuesday, tomorrow, and Van Dyke is facing first-degree murder and misconduct charges. In October 2014, he was caught on camera shooting Laquan McDonald more than a dozen times. And today is the first day college-bound students can submit their FAFSA application. However, this year, the free application for federal student aid is going mobile and making the process just a little bit easier than ever. The form is now available through the brand new My Student Aid app. Deadlines vary depending on state and college deadlines, but experts recommend you do your research to make sure that you submit your FAFSA on time. Well, don't go anywhere. Our Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates has your full weather forecast when we come back from the break.
You're watching WNBD News.